Nick C. In your Santa Barbara years, have you ever come across a dude named Reid Slatkin? He worked at the Celebrity Center between approximately 1975 and 1984, then moved to Santa Barbara and started offering investment management services to fellow Scientologists. Among the high-profile Scientologists he roped in were Ann Archer, Giovanni Ribisi, Greta Van Susteren, and Sky Dayton. In reality, it was a Ponzi scheme, which gradually unraveled between mid-1990s and 2001 when he was arrested. He pleaded guilty in 2003. He actually claimed something along the lines of Scientology made me do it, but the church retained Latham and Watkins to fight the allegations. He was sentenced to 14 years of prison, served 10, was released to a halfway house in Long Beach in 2013, and died in 2015. Oh yeah, good old Reid Slatkin. I actually met him and interacted with him a few times in Santa Barbara. He lived in Hope Ranch, which was sort of the rich area of Santa Barbara. That was where Bob Duggan and Trish Duggan and their family actually lived as well. I don't know if they're still there or if they're even still together. But then I'd been to the Duggan's house. I'd been to Slatkin's house. Reid Slatkin did not come around the church very often. The local Santa Barbara org was tiny. It was on State Street, which was the main street of Santa Barbara. It had tons and tons of walk-by traffic, but most of that was tourists or college students. And they weren't particularly interested in doing a whole lot with Dianetics and Scientology, and we weren't really that good at reaching out and bringing them in and that sort of thing. I sure as hell wasn't. I was not at all interested in being out on the street passing out flyers or selling books. But getting back to Reid Slatkin, he was one of those people, and a lot of local city-level churches experience this. The high-level, really rich Scientologists are considered flag public. That's what they're called. They go to Flag in Clearwater, Florida, or they go down to the Sea Orgs down in Los Angeles, and that's where they do their services, and that was the case with Reid. So if he came around the local church, it was kind of this special event, ooh, Reid's coming. I mean, not like the same thing as Miscavige coming. It wasn't like we were all scared of Reid Slatkin. It was just he was a power player as far as Scientology was concerned because he was living in Hope Ranch. He had a lot of money. He had a lot of people who were investing money with him, and not just the celebrities and VIP type Scientologists that you named, but tons and tons of Scientologists. Later, when the whole bust happened, I was in the Sea Org by that time, and it was shocking to find out that he had been cheating people out of their money and running this Ponzi scheme. This was not something that that Scientology was making him do. This was 1,000% his own invention. The fact that he was giving money to the Church of Scientology, well, of course he was. And the fact that he was taking money from Scientologists and running this scheme, the Church of Scientology didn't want that to happen. They wanted all the money, right? They didn't want money going from shuffling from this person to that person to this person to that person to make it look like this person was getting a return on investment, and then this person was getting a return on investment, and then, that's not something that Scientology would particularly be at all interested in happening. What Scientology would want is for him to be honestly making all those people that money, so all those people could be giving, all of that money to the church. And this included, by the way, amongst his clientele were Sea Org members. There was a guy named Jeff. I'm forgetting his last name right now. It's not really important, but he was a flag reg. He was a salesperson specifically in Los Angeles. There's an office in the building that I worked in whose entire job is to get people to Flag in Clearwater. It was the Flag, registration office. And this guy, Jeff, was basically the head sales guy there. And he had investments. He had some money, I guess. I don't know. There were bonus systems and there were various ways he could have been making money, especially through the 80s and 90s before Miscavige cut a lot of those bonus programs down. And that tradition of bonuses came from L. Ron Hubbard. Hubbard was big on bonuses and used those as an incentive to get his crew working more. So Miscavige, like I said, over the years has cut all of that off. But regardless of any of that, Jeff, other Sea Org members, had a lot of their money with Reid Slatkin for investment purposes. And when he tanked, they tanked and they lost big. Like basically that he cleaned out their savings. And that was rough. There were a lot of Sea Org members and Scientologists who were so pissed at this guy. I mean, furiously pissed. The same way you'd be furious if your bank tomorrow went bankrupt and all your money was gone. It was like that. And then to find out that your bank was cheating you, or that this guy, Reid Slatkin, had been cheating you. I mean, talk about persona non grata. Talk about somebody who got declared immediately, right? I mean, and deserved it. This guy really screwed over a ton of people. But we were clueless about that when I was Santa Barbara staff. He was just another rich person, similar to Bob Duggan, on a lesser scale, but we weren't really measuring, you know, bank account figures or anything. He was just a hoity-toity rich guy, and that was kind of how we thought of him. His children and his wife did come into the Santa Barbara org and do services from time to time, especially his wife at the time, Mary Jo Slatkin, who, of course, didn't know, I guess didn't know about this. I actually couldn't speak to her innocence or guilt one way or the other, but she, as far as I know, she didn't get declared. She divorced his ass, you know, pretty quickly, as far as I understand, from what happened, if I'm remembering right, and he was definitely standing alone when he stood in the courtroom and had to take his licks. So that's kind of everything I know about Reid Slatkin. So hope that's interesting in some fashion.